everybody, man, what a day, what a day, what a day. Just got off of the first ever live broadcast related to the Super Side Hustle experiment invitation that I've got kicked off here. And during the process of it and afterwards, I came up with a really good idea, I think, which is to do this. I'm going to introduce myself, tell you what we're doing, tell you what it's about, tell you why you might want to consider plugging in. That way you can make the decision and show up or not. But more importantly, I don't have to recap this and revisit this and take time out of these broadcasts and schedule classes and trainings and workshops and all the different things we're going to do to help people understand the real systematic approach to building a side hustle. So a little bit on my background. And I think it's important you know where this is coming from, because I'm only going to talk about and or teach, and you're going to only watch me do what I've done, so you need to know where that's coming from. So I was in the military quite a long time, got out as a Marine Corps officer, went into corporate America about 25 years ago, have always been on the sales, marketing, business development, strategic alliance side of high-tech startups. Did fairly well, been a part of some good teams. We were successfully able to grow a company, sell it, and I moved into a different company, same thing, but grow a company, sell it, and ended up working for myself, independent. So done a lot of different things along the way. Definitely have the mentality and understanding and the path traveled of a startup guy, an entrepreneur. Simultaneous to that, that's my traditional business background and experience. Simultaneous to that, I have about 20 years experience in non-traditional business models. So before the internet, I would call non-traditional business models, door-to-door sales, direct selling, network marketing. And then post-internet, I would add to that bucket of non-traditional business models, social selling, referral marketing, attraction marketing, automated marketing, that whole world of business models. And for my entire 25 years, when you put both of them parallel to each other, one thing I've been able to successfully do, or one thing I credit my success from, is being able to take strategies from one domain, like the non-traditional business domain, and apply it in a traditional domain, and take strategy, system, structure from a traditional domain and apply it in a non-traditional domain. So the first time I had this brilliant idea to do this mashup of business models, right, was when I committed to my first ever committed side hustle. And by side hustle, I do not mean a hobby. By side hustle, I mean I committed to something. I wanted to see if I could build an actual business enterprise with a part-time effort. In fact, back then, I used to always say, hey, I'm doing this part-time, right? Not even part-time. I didn't even have the hours to give it a part-time effort. So what made me think I could do it then is that I knew that if I used system and structure and process from the traditional business and put it into potentially explosive growth models of non-traditional business, I should be able to build a enterprise that accomplished one hard to accomplish task. And so center to my strategy of a side hustle back then, and even this time, was I wanted to build an enterprise that was separate from my effort. So I wanted to systematically separate my reward from my effort, because that's an idea or a theme or a goal that's very common on the non-traditional business side. And it's common on the traditional business side, but only at the owner level, right? So what I mean by separate my effort from my income is I wanted to build an enterprise that I could walk away from and have that enterprise continue to crank along and do what it does. So I was able to put together the systems and the teams and that stuff, I was able to put together the systems, right? And then put the teams in place to drive the systems in their own self-interest. And what resulted from that was we were able to help, in the span of about 18 months, we were able to help a company, the whole field, the whole independent marketers, we were able to help that company go from about zero to just shy of $50 million, 45% of which flowed through our team. So we did really well, and that was dispersed across a lot of people, making different degrees of that income, but we were able to do it. I was actually able to get it to the point where I could use it. I leveraged myself out of corporate America for a while and just did that. So I'm gonna do it again. I'm sitting around And I'm thinking, so, and I'm going to tell you what I'm up to now just professionally, so you know this is a side hustle, right? But that's the whole point. I'm sitting around and I'm thinking, during this lock-in COVID quarantine thing, the last thing I want to do, and the last thing I know as a very, very busy entrepreneur and somebody that prides himself on having a high octane kind of lifestyle, the last thing I want to do is undo all those really positive habits and adopt new habits of sitting around focused on negative things, focus on less than positive things, consuming a massive amount of whatever's on TV, whether it be news or whoever killed the lion or wherever the lion killed the tiger, whatever that show is that everybody's all enthralled about. So I knew I had to challenge myself. And I knew I had to completely take up all of my idle time, or at least come up with things that I could focus on to keep my mind engaged in a positive way. Or when we come out of this, I would lose my high octane. I would lose the impact of a lot of really high octane habits I have in place, and I would not perform as well. I just know this from the path I've taken. So one of the things that dawned on me I could do was just redo what I did before, right? And this is all serendipity. I got along my way of trying to find ways to increase my personal performance, I became a huge, huge, huge fan of nootropics and things that boost mental energy. I'm going to put it in a big group of mental energy. And some friends of mine came to me that I've known for a very long time and trusted, that they're bringing to market this new powerful nootropic. And I always can use nootropics, right? Especially now when I can use increased focus in the uncertainty and constantly changing world we live in. Long story short, I decided, you know what I could do? What I could do is redo a modern version, a 2020 version of what I did before. I could start from scratch and build a side hustle and build a complete venture. I'm going to build it around that. Now, your invitation is to come up with your own side hustle if you have one. If you don't, find one. But I'm going to walk you through real life, day to day, not day to day, but you're going to get a real life front row seat to an experienced person that has built a side hustle before. I'm going to try to do it again. I'm going to do it as a side hustle. So now, what do I do now, and why does it have to be a side hustle for me now? And this can help frame out whether you are in a similar boat or do you consider this a side hustle, right? So I have two companies that take up the majority of my time. I have a IT staffing and consulting company in Seattle. I have a software development firm that's an umbrella firm acquiring other technology companies. Those take up the majority of my regular prime time business time. Now, in my off hours, I have a very active lifestyle. I try to stay fit. I'm very consistent with fitness. I won't go as far as say I love it, but I do it so much that most people think I do. I'm a big enthusiast in the martial arts, so I go in and out of training martial arts. I have a podcast that I launched mostly around the mindset that I developed from that hybrid path I've taken to get to this point that I just explained. And I do that for fun. So I have a full plate. So I'm literally going to do this in very little time. I'm going to be able to create on my plate. Now, here's what we're going to get. Here's what you're going to get out of if you choose to tune into this, take this invitation and join us in the side hustle. What we're going to teach is technology. What we're going to teach is very specific technology designed to help you build a leveraged model, to help you build an empire, if you will, to help you build your side hustle part-time. The only way I was able to do it in the past, and the only way I could possibly even attempt to do it now, was to leverage on very proven and very leveraged systems where I can get a concentrated amount of effort into results, but in very little actual time. I don't have a lot of time I can apply to this, but I am going to make consistent time. So, right off the bat, let me frame out what it took me to do it last time, which I'm assuming is going to take around the same this time. So if you're considering this, here's the time man. So usually people ask, like, what's it going to take in terms of time and effort? Because I'm too busy. I get it. So it's going to take about 10 hours a week, usually about an hour a day, and then 2.5 hours a day on each day on the weekend, or 5 hours across the weekend. But the whole thing is just averages. So if you miss a day, you got to make up for the day. But let's define terms. You're going to hear me say that all the time in the training in the side hustle classes, right? We need to define what we're talking about. When I say an hour, I don't mean a full hour from 9 to 10. It doesn't have to be that. If you apply 10 minutes early in the morning, then 10 minutes mid-morning, 10 minutes at lunch, 10 minutes after lunch, 10 minutes before dinner, and 10 minutes at night, that's 6 segments of 10 minutes. That's an hour. And that can work. But here's the deal, and here's the secret, and here's the challenge. In those 10 minutes, you got to be on your game, man. You got to come in there knowing what to do, when, how to do it, and you got to specifically do that to a high degree of focus and attention and effort. Most things we teach you can repeat multiple times inside of 10 minutes. Why? Because we're relying upon systems. Now, what's the purpose of the systems? It's not magic. The purpose of the system is to shift the needle of probability. Just like I live in Las Vegas part-time. So Las Vegas, Nevada. There would not be a Las Vegas, Nevada if there was no such thing about building a business based on probability. The casinos do not rely upon luck to pay their bills. The people that come to Las Vegas are playing luck against luck. They're trying to beat luck. The casinos are not winning luck. They're anything but luck. It's almost a sure thing because they know over time the house wins. Over time, the casino wins. That's why they can afford to have a casino. They don't win minute by minute. They don't win day by day. And sometimes people, so-called break the bank. They win big, but it doesn't matter because over so much time, the house wins so much that even on the days or the moments or the moments where they lose, they can cover it from the winnings that they get all the time. The house always wins. So what we're going to teach you is a way to become the house. In the context of your own side hustle, we're going to teach you a way to become the house. You will shift that needle of probability to the win column, which means it then not becomes if or if going to happen. It just becomes when it's going to happen. And then the tempo or the time, and we're going to teach you about tempo and time, but the tempo becomes how soon do you want it? How soon do you need it to have it happen? And how long are you wait for it to happen? And a lot of that's going to be based upon the context of where you are in your life. So this is what's going on. This is going to be an invitation to have a front row seat to watch me jump in there and build a part-time, a side hustle, if you will, from scratch, from absolute scratch. We had the first call today. We taught technology. Let's talk about technology really quickly. Technology. You're going to hear me use this term all the time, technology. I don't mean digital technology. I don't mean like a computer, phone, or internet. Sometimes it's that, but a lot of times, most of the times it's not. Technology just simply means something that's designed to do something to generate a specific result in a reliable manner. So it will work over and over and over and over again. That's the definition of technology for the context of our classes. A hammer is technology for putting a nail in a board. A pot is technology used to cook. Got it. So you get what I mean by technology. So today, on our very first class, we went over some language technology. It's fundamental to anybody's side hustle, anybody's business, and quite honestly, anybody's station in business, because what we went over was the technology of the invitation. Here's the invitation, the generic invitation, not a specific one, like you being invited to join us in the side hustle program, project, experience. No, but the general invitation technology. We went over how to do that. And specifically, and here's why we took the time to do that. Because at some point, you're going to have to invite people to take a look at your grand idea. If it's something you want to create from scratch, you're going to have to invite people to do the things required to help take that idea to reality. All the things and calls and doing that. For a lot of you are going to have to invite people to check out your business experience, project, whatever it is you're going to be motivated around. You're going to have to invite people to try your product and or service, become a customer. You're going to have to invite people to spend some time with you, even in your social life, to get to know you better. So this idea of invitation is broader than just inviting people to a specific thing, and understanding the technology behind invitation, language technology behind invitation, as you can see, should serve you in multiple facets of your life. Multiple facets of your life. So one thing we're going to do, because I had to do it in my side hustle situation, is teach you technologies that can be applied in multiple areas that you're going to need to be successful in. So those are the things we're going to focus on first, which is why we're starting on language technology. So these are going to be temporal. They're going to be scarce. What I mean by that is These classes are not going to just be posted for you to come and get anytime you want. You're going to have to rearrange your life and show up and come and participate or not. Depends on how it works, right? But here's what I am going to do, because I get it. Everybody's busy, got a lot going on, and this is a side hustle. This is built for people to do it as a side hustle. But it's also built for, I already know, and we'll have a class on this, I already know what the characteristics are of the persons that can successfully launch a side hustle. And the things I'm doing now and telling you now and requesting you to do now are designed to, one, play to those people, because those are the people that are going to be successful anyway, but two, help other people identify who those people are, because at some time in your side hustle, regardless of what it is, you're going to have to identify potential leadership. And everything we do, it will help you quickly identify who has that leadership potential from a characteristic standpoint. You're going to know in a matter of minutes. It doesn't take this big psychological exam. I can do something in less than a minute and know. And we're going to teach that stuff, because that's what we did in the past. So for those reasons, everything we do is pointed and has a purpose. The reason we don't leave these trainings just out there has a purpose. The reason we do everything we do has a purpose. We do them in a sequence and a purpose, because they build on one another. So what you learn now, you're going to need to completely understand not only how it works, but the language around it when we teach you more advanced things. And those advanced things are going to come relatively quick. Why? Because I'm hustling. I'm actively in the process of building a side hustle as we speak. So to wrap this up, you have a front row seat invitation to watch me build a side hustle, and I'm going to do it out loud. So I'm going to think out loud, I'm going to act out loud, and I'm going to slow down and explain for the fundamentals what and how I'm using those technologies now that you understand the definition of technologies. Now, part of why I'm doing this is because it's going to serve me, right? So what I'm building the hustle around is, I said, it's a nootropic. It's something to help you get and enhance your mental energy. Now, I would love for you to try that product or not. So I want to be very clear on this. The side hustle instructions, the technologies we use and all that, you can use it in your life however you would like to. But it would do you a disservice if I didn't tell you that the majority of the energy you're going to have to apply to make your side hustle successful is mental energy. It starts in your brain first. So you got to be mentally ready to take action, to actually take action. So, and that's not the same as drinking a cup of coffee. I'm not talking about central nervous energy. So, and I had to do that little commercial, that little overt commercial, because some of you are going to be serious about this. You have something you want to go do. Your side hustle may not be my side hustle, but you want to be successful at it. And you're going to want to use the technology that we use and how we use it, exactly how we use it. And I'm here to tell you, if you do it with an amped up mental energy, you're going to be way, way, way more successful, way, way, way more creative, way, way, way more on point on recall and focus and stuff. So from time to time, you will hear me suggest that you do that. And I wanted to do that up front, because this whole thing is going to be hyper transparent. You're going to see what's going on, what's working, or what not. And here's the deal. It's going to work or it's not going to work, right? I only have what I have. This is a lot of time I'm spending on this intro, but I have to spend this time on the intro so you know what you're stepping into, and I don't have to repeat anything, and you can jump into the groove and just keep it moving. Another good thing is things are not, the more you learn, the more effective you will be, but there are no prerequisites. So if you miss 3 of these and tune in to number 4, you can just use the technology share on number 4 and still be effective. Okay, that's your invitation. So I hope you take us up on it. What I would ask you to do I'm going to ask you to do something that's going to sound really, really weird. I'm going to ask you to come into this program or this challenge or this experiment or this experience with very selfish intent. I want you to be as selfish as you can. I want you to come into these classes or workshops or whatever it is we're doing at the time with the intent to take something out of there that you are going to use to serve you. That's the mentality you need to have to get the most out of this, and it's okay in this environment. It's completely okay in this environment. So there are going to be some ways that you can ask questions starting now. if you have specific questions, like none of this made any sense, or it does make enough sense for you to have some questions, just get me the questions somehow. Direct message me in one of the many ways that you can do that. I'm pretty, I'm pretty easy to find and connect with. So on social media, whatever, just leave me a message. I will get back to you. But I will say this: you don't have to be a master at things. It don't have to be. These are going to be things that we can train and teach and do right away. In fact, you will be able to execute what you learn in the class 5 minutes after the class is over. That's how practical and to the point and how functional these things we're going to teach are. And it has to be that way because for it to work, to build a side hustle, it's got to be that practical and easy to apply. You don't have to go read no book and study and practice for a week. No, if you understand what we teach in the class, you will be able to apply it immediately. That's the bar I've set for myself. And I like doing this because I like seeing the results and it's fun. It gives me a lot of mental energy. You're going to learn in one of our classes on energy that if you want more energy, you got to have a demand for more energy. The short of it is you got to do more things. It's counterintuitive. Most people think they have to do less things to store up energy. It's not the way it works. Not in the deals we're in. Not in the high performance, high octane living we're trying to do. You want more energy. You got to do more things. You get the energy you demand. So, with that, guys, thanks for tuning in and indulge me for 21 minutes. I went about a minute longer than I thought it would take. I thought it would take me about a good 20 minutes, but now this is 20 minutes I don't have to repeat on a daily, weekly basis as we get into the super side hustle experience. Let's go get it.